Okay, so for today, 2 blocks if you have them. 1 block would work. A strap if you feel so inclined. And to start off, I'm going to cover my mat with my blanket, but you could also just be working in your space on the carpet. Just for a little slidey stuff, right? A little slidey action. And then we'll meet on our backs. So working today with, working all this week with space, and today in particular with the lateral line, the side line of the body, and the back line. And then on Thursday, we'll go to front line and spiral line. So get comfortable and drop in as much as possible, leaving all your lists and your to-dos for the day or the evening somewhere else, and just letting yourself rest on the earth, kind of a shavasana shape to begin with. Back of your head pressing lightly into the floor, chin towards sternum. Maybe you could tuck your shoulder blades underneath and let your arms come out to 45 degrees, palms up, and the legs extended and the feet just flop out to the sides. So we stop before we start. We empty before we fill. Got lots going on in our lives all the time. And then just take your feet a little wider. So wide as the bottom corners of your mat, and bring your arms overhead. So your body's in a kind of a big X position here. And then just gently press through one heel and then through the other heel. And just feel the follow through into your torso, your hips, your torso. And as that follow through continues, you can reach the same arm away. So you're pressing through one heel, reach the same arm away. So moving back and forth in this way a couple of times. Then keep your right foot where it is and slide your left foot over beside it. So legs and feet are in Tadasana. Take your hands behind your head, slide your left elbow back. And then wherever you find yourself, if you've gone to your end range, just back off slightly. So make it less effort. Okay. One more round of breath here. Great, and then slide your feet over to the left, stacking both feet, your legs are in Tadasana, slide your right elbow back. And again, if you've gone to your end limit, just come back slightly. We're trying to release the tension. Sometimes when we go to end limit, we just go back to the same tensioned areas. So we're actually creating or continuing to create tension instead of releasing tension. So here we go. And then you can slide to the middle. Okay. Take the soles of your feet to the floor. Arms released to your sides in the cactus position. And just let your knees gently fall back and forth. Especially if you're practicing in the morning and you've just gotten up, just take this slowly, finding a nice rhythm. And the next time your knees go to the left, reach your right arm long. And then inhale back to the starting position. knees to the right, left arm reaches long. So we're working in the side ribs here as we go back and forth a couple times with this unwinding action. So knees to the left, right arm reaches long. Inhale back to center, knees to the right, left arm reaches long. Great. There it is. And then just come back to the starting position, soles of the feet to the floor, arms in the cactus position, and just take a couple of pelvic tilts here. So as you do, just feeling into your low back. Can be kind of a tender area for a lot of us, especially if we've been out doing all the summer things, hiking, riding, boating of some sort, swimming. Good. And then bring your arms alongside your body now. And then the next time you inhale and draw your pubic bone away from navel, press into your feet, lift your hips. And then just roll your spine down one vertebra at a time, really concentrating on lengthening the spine. So at the end, the tailbone comes down, reaches towards the floor. Press into the feet again and lift. Keep the chin tucked in towards your sternum. So the back of the neck is long. Good. And then just a few rounds of this. Feeling for length through the back body, through the spine. Notice if you're in a hurry for any reason. Slowing everything down. And the last time you rest your hips down, take your hands to the front of your thighs and just press on the front of the thighs, kind of, again, lengthening through the whole torso. Great. Then stacking knees over hips, we're going to come back and forth a few times. So the whole body comes to the left side, stacking knees, stacking hands, and then inhale to open up and come over to the right, stacking hands and knees. Just do that a few times, should feel nice and playful. Great. Then the next time you come over to the left, after you stack everything, straighten everything out, like you're opening your body, or like really open up like as straight as possible, resting on your side waist, right? And then pull everything back together, come over to the other side, everything gets stacked, and then open up. Tuck back in, roll back over to the other side, open up, tuck back in, roll back over. You might find yourself migrating on your space here. That's okay. We're moving back and forth a few times. And then once you've done an even number, coming back to the center of your space and taking your legs long, reaching arms overhead. You could interlace fingers here and press through your palms as you reach through your feet. Take a couple rounds of breath. Then you can release your hands and either roll to one side or cross the ankles and rock yourself up, and we'll come to table. Coming to table, and first let's just drop to the forearms and wag your tail right and left. Beautiful. Reach the tailbone back towards the heels and kind of rock forward. So just rocking back and forth a little bit here. I'm just gonna move my blanket out of the way. So, yeah, so back and forth here, and then if you're not back onto your hands, come back onto your hands, and we'll just start a few cat-cows, few rounds of cat-cow. On the inhale, really drawing the collarbones forward and spreading the collarbone, spreading the tailbone, and the gaze just right out over the edge of your mat. And on your exhale, press into your hands, round your back, tuck your tail. Great. Then, after you've done a few rounds like that, just begin to take your side waist out in one direction on the inhale, come forward, and out in the opposite direction on the exhale. Bring the hips around. So you're circling through your space in your cat-cow. Really bringing the one side waist over towards this long edge of your mat, and then over towards the long edge of your mat and the other side with the exhale. So moving around in a circle. And at some point we'll reverse that. And then coming back to center, forearms to the floor, hips back towards heels. So it's okay to take something between the legs, the lower legs and the thighs. That'll really facilitate for some of us a more restful position in the child's pose. So go ahead and take time to do that. And then we'll take hands over to the left. Forehead could be on the floor or a block. Okay, so if you're want a block for your forehead, it's a little more difficult to get the hands over to the side, but you can rest in that position. And then maybe you take your right hand to the top of your left hand. So now whole right side body's getting a little elongation here for one more round of breath. Great, then come through center, bring both hands over to the right, maybe stacking left hand on right hand. And releasing your low back. Come back to center and press back up to your table position. Okay. And then from here, we're just going to reach the right fingertips forward and drop back towards the heels. Left arm can bend all the way down, forearm to the mat. Inhale, come back to table. Reach the left fingers forward. You can come down onto your right forearm. And slide back. One more time on each side, right fingertips, right arm extended straight. You're just like on your finger pads, left arm is bent. So you're on the left forearm here, really opening the side of the shoulder and back to the other side. The left fingertips forward and resting on the right forearm. Slide back up to the table position and just take a few rounds here of cat-cow. So we're going to emphasize the cat portion. So pressing into your hands, tuck your chin, round your back, up towards the ceiling and hold. Inhale. And one more. As you press your hands into the floor, press your back up towards the ceiling. Tuck your tail. Good. And then as you come into a neutral position, we're going to shift to sitting in on the floor in this following orientation. So the left leg is in Baddha Konasana with the foot into the right thigh, and the right leg is in Virasana with the lower leg back. Okay, as best as possible, if you have to flare this out a little bit with the legs, you can go there, and left hand beside left thigh. We're going to press up onto the lower legs and reach the right arm overhead. So just pressing into the shins and then lower back down. And then we're going to do this. Let's do this about 5 or 6 times. Sweeping up on the inhale, releasing back down on the exhale. The last time you press up, go ahead and extend the right leg long. Take the sole of your foot to the floor maybe, and feel through the back of your heel, all the way through your outer leg, your extended leg, all the way up through your sideways, through your fingertips. And then release. Hands behind your back as you change the orientation of your legs. And now right hand comes beside the right thigh, and we just press up onto the shins and settle back down. And we'll vinyasa this 5 or 6 times. The last time you come up, extend the back leg. Great. And one more round of breath here. Good. And then come back down. Take hands behind you to swivel and extend legs straight in Dandasana. Take your hands behind you for this Dandasana. And then just let one knee kind of pop up and down. The other knee. Back and forth. Both knees. Good. Walking hands as close to your hips as works in your body. You might have something underneath your hips to lift if you're super tight in your back line. And then pressing into your heels. Just draw as much of your leg to the floor as possible. Shins back, toes back towards shins. Great. For 3, 2, 1. Good. Now we come to sitting either in Sukhasana or Virasana. I'm going to sit in Virasana, block between my ankles, and rest your hands just lightly on your thighs. Close your eyes. Draw your chin back and down, and the back of your skull up towards the heavens. Reach your tailbone down. So see if you can really create a lot of length in your back body. One more round of breath here. And bring your right fingertips onto your right shoulder. And then bring your elbow up towards the ceiling. and then extend your arm up. Draw your right sit bone down into the earth and just reach, not so much over, but sort of up maybe and toward a little bit towards midline. And then exhale, let your arm float down. Bring your left fingertips to your left shoulder, elbow up towards the sky. Then reach the arm up. Draw your left sit bone down and reach just over midline slightly with the left arm. Can you drop your shoulder down? So you're tucking the shoulder blade down a little bit and in, and then exhale, float the arm down. Good. Right fingertips to right shoulder, elbow up towards the ceiling. Plug the right sit bone down, reach the right arm up. Left fingertips to left shoulder, elbow up, plug the left sit bones down, reach the left arm up. Drop shoulder tops, so bring the shoulder blades down and in slightly, and reach the fingertips, telescoping the ribs up, sideways up, almost like you're unraveling something, right? But keep shoulder tops soft. Plug your sit bones into your space. Exhale to release. Let your hands just rest on your lap and just release the shoulders by circling around up, down, and back. Good. And let's just work a little tension out of the neck. So bring the chin back and in, and then left ear to left shoulder. Passing through center, right ear to right shoulder. Just a little back and forth movement here. Yeah. So the neck, this is part of the lateral sheath. Sides of the neck get really tight. Great, we'll come back to center now and take your left fingertips to the floor. Bring your right fingertips to your shoulder, elbow up, plug right sit bone in, reach the right arm up, and then walking the left hand out, take a side bend here. Left shoulder away from the ear. Next inhale, sweep everything up and rest your right hand on the floor. Bring your left fingertips to your shoulder, elbow up towards the ceiling. Reach the left arm long, walk your right fingertips out until you can come into a side bend to the right. Plug your left sit bones into the floor, the prop. Good. And then we'll inhale, come back up, and then we're just going to kind of sweep back and forth with this. Keeping sideways long, keeping sit bones really grounded. And once you've done an even number on both sides, or that feels like you have, we'll come back to center, fold forward, walk the hands forward as much as feels comfortable or possible in your body. Reach your tailbone back, drop your forearms to the floor, and tuck your chin. Inhale to walk your hands back. And from here, we're going to, if you've got the block underneath your sit bones, you can kind of just spin yourself around so the orientation is long edge of the mat. You line up to the long edge of the mat. We'll take the table position once again. You know, whatever way you want to get to that, just get to table. Turn toes under here and press hips up and back, downward facing dog. So start with your feet really wide on the mat, and you can move back and forth. You are going to need your blocks up towards the front of your mat. So pedaling through your downward facing dog legs. Okay, and then bend your elbows towards the floor, scoop them in and re-straighten. Press the back of your legs towards the back of your space. Feel some opening behind your legs, or the back of your legs rather. Feel opening behind the knees, back of the legs. Okay, inhale, come down to cow. Take the left leg long, turn toes under and press, pulsing. Okay, working in the back of the lower leg a bit. Holding. You can always go to forearms here if there's any impact in the wrist or hands. And then bringing that knee back, right leg long, toes under, pulsing and holding. Really working, getting, so a lot of tightness in the back line is in our calves and feet. So you really want to probably, especially if you're a pretty active person, you want to be stretching the calves and feet every day. Back to all fours. Inhale to cow. Turn toes under. Exhale, press up and back, downward facing dog. Now pedal through your feet again. Bend your elbows. Tuck them in and re-straighten. Pressing the back line of your legs away. So hamstrings, kind of press the hamstrings back to the space behind you. And your next inhale, walk your feet up to your hands. Here's where you're going to want a block or two. And we'll inhale, come into a halfway lift. So stretch the tailbone back and the crown of the head forward. And then exhale, come into a fold. Bend your knees in your fold, and whatever you need for this forward fold. And inhale, come back up to halfway lift. So the back doesn't have to be parallel to the floor. We just want a nice flat back. So reaching the crown of the head long and the tailbone away. Then from here, bend through your knees, set your hips back, and press yourself up to standing and Tadasana. Right up to Tadasana. Okay. And let's just reach the fingertips down towards the floor. You could rock back and forth a little bit, move through your hips, bounce your heels. Good. Then we'll inhale, interlace the hands behind the head. Take an inhale, and on your exhale, press hands out to the left, hips to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale, hands out to the right, hips to the left. And go back and forth a few times with that. If the breath moves the other way for you, this could be the inhale for you, this could be the exhale. That's okay, just find your rhythm, movement contained in your breath. And then when you've done an even number, Release your arms, let them swing back and forward, each time coming forward and crossing in a different orientation. Great. And then just let the hands go, bounce the heels, move the hips, the torso. Good. You're doing a lot of static holding. So you just in between a little movement, vinyasa type movement. Good. Then let's come to the mat with the right foot forward, left foot back in Vera 1. So hands to hips to start. And on the inhale, press into your back foot, bend your front knee, lift your arms up. Exhale, float the arms down, straighten the front leg. Inhale and exhale. And you can play with your stance. You can have your stance pretty short if you want to be a little wider in your stance, go there. But think about drawing the back of your skull up towards the heavens, the tailbone down, even as there's a little arch in the back, the tailbone is still reaching to the floor. Fingers, pinky fingers rolled in towards one another. Good. Great. The next time you straighten the front leg, hands to hips, go ahead and lean forward, bend through the front leg, pick up the back foot and set it back down. And now you're in the warrior 2. And again, adjusting your feet as need be, bending through the front leg. Inhale, sweep arms up, straighten the front leg. Exhale, come down into warrior 2. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now, staying in the warrior 2, reach the arms out. Inhale, flip the front palm and lean forward, and then exhale, come back into exalted warrior. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, stay. Inhale, straighten the front leg, both arms up overhead. Exhale, warrior 2. Flip the front palm, reach forward. Exhale, come back, exalted warrior. Inhale, come forward, warrior 2. Exhale, sit in it. Inhale, straighten the front leg, reach both arms overhead. Exhale, bend the front knee, come into warrior 2. Take your front forearm to your front thigh, backhand to the hip. Now really press your forearm into your thigh so that the front shoulder moves away from the ear. Feel into the back heel, really press the back heel down. Take fingertips to the shoulder, then reach the top arm over, extended side angle. Okay, from here, straighten the front leg, back hand back to the hip, or top hand back to the hip. Your front hand comes to your shin or to a block on the outside of your front leg. Feel this Trikonasana, feel the Trikonasana legs, and then reach your top arm over your head again. Instead of the traditional up, stacking shoulders, we're just coming forward with the top arm, really working side ribs here. 2 more rounds of breath, everybody. Very nice. And then bend through the front knee, sweep yourself back up, take your block with you. Turn both feet to face parallel to one another. Inhale, reach the crown of the head up. Exhale, we're going to take a fold here. So 1 block, 2 blocks. Don't have your blocks. You don't need your blocks. That's fine. And we'll fold into a forward fold here. And really reach the hamstrings back into your space. Pull your kneecaps up. So really engage the thighs to help facilitate opening the back of the legs. Then with the hands on the blocks or the floor, inhale to halfway. Then exhale, fold again. Inhale to halfway. Heel toe the feet together. Bend through your knees and stand into Tadasana. You might go ahead and stack your blocks behind you for the second side and press up to Tadasana. Bounce your heels. Shake your arms out. And then line yourself up now for Vira 1 on the other side. So left foot forward, right foot back. We'll start by just making a few vinyasa movements with the legs. So the front knee bends as we press into the back heel, and then we straighten that out. And then we add the arms as we bend through the front knee and press in the back heel. We add the arms. Great. Exhale, float the arms down. And a couple times there. And the next time you come to this straight position, front leg straight, you can take your hands to your hips and then bend through the front knee slightly, pick up the back foot and just move it back and come into warrior 2. Good. So here we go. Let's take the arms out. We'll inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, straighten the front leg, and exhale, float down to the warrior 2. What's happening with the back heel? So right heel really pin down, toes, heel is out slightly as you find your warrior 2. And then the next time you find yourself in the warrior 2 stay, flip the front palm on the inhale and exhale, come back, exalted warrior. Inhale, back to warrior 2. Exhale, really ground. Inhale, straighten the front leg, arms overhead. Exhale, warrior 2. Flip the front palm, reach forward. Exhale, back, exalted warrior. Inhale, warrior 2. Exhale, really ground. Inhale, straighten the front leg, lift arms overhead. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale, reach the front palm forward. Exhale, come back, exalted warrior. Inhale, sweep forward. Grounding. Next inhale, straighten both arms overhead, straighten the front leg. Good. Then warrior 2. Bend the front elbow, take your forearm to the front thigh. Back hand on the hip. Really press your forearm into your thigh so the front shoulder stays away from the ear. And then reach the top arm over, extended side angle. What's happening in the back foot? Outer heel presses down, long line of energy from the outer heel all the way through your side, all the way out your top fingertips. And then bring that top hand to your hip, straightening the front leg enough to release that hand to the shin or to a block on the outside of your lower leg. Good work, everybody. And then you can reach top arm over. Really nice. Next inhale, we'll bend through the front knee, sweep up, all the way up through warrior two, both feet parallel to one another, lined up with the long edge of the mat or facing the long edge of the mat. Now, can you draw your tailbone down and the crown of your head long? So feel like you're lengthening, someone's pulling on both ends of your spinal column. And then exhale, you're going to take a fold here. Again, you could have the blocks. You can come down to your hands, have the blocks or a block. Just decide what feels appropriate for you in your body today. And then we'll inhale to halfway lift. And exhale, fold again. So in this fold, really draw the kneecaps up, engaging the upper legs as you press the back of the legs away. Engage your quads. Inhale. And then we'll go one more time, and maybe you have the ability to bring your head down to a block. Forehead to the block or to the floor. So you get a little inversion. And pressing the thighs back in space. Good, with hands underneath your sternum, underneath your shoulders, or on your blocks, inhale to halfway. And then heel toe the feet together. So you're in kind of a big squat position, and you can come down into a squat. Pressing elbows into the legs, legs back into elbows. Tucking your chin in here. Great, then you can just come right down to the floor and take the back of your hands to your thighs. And we'll make our way back down to the floor for a few things. So making your way back down to the floor on your back. And let's take the soles of the feet to the floor and let the knees rest together here. And you might find yourself just almost like the pendiculation, a few little cat-cow movements. Right. Good. And then from here, let's take the legs up towards the ceiling. So soles of the feet pressing up towards the ceiling. Press through the soles of the feet like you're going to stand on the ceiling. Press the toe mounds towards the ceiling. And then stretch the toes and see if you can open up the toes and see all the spaces between each toe. All of your toes, space between every single toe. And release. Let your feet come back to the floor, legs long. Reach overhead with the arms, pressing one heel and the opposite heel. Then arms beside you, cactus arms, feet to the floor, feet wide, knees back and forth. And then you can bring your arms into your waist here to support this movement that we just did with the legs up, but bring the legs up towards an L position. You're in an L position with your body essentially. So you don't have to bring the legs in close. It doesn't have to be a forward fold here, but press the back of your legs away. Toes are pulled back towards shins, and it's like you're stepping on the ceiling with your feet. Then reach the big toe and the pinky toe mounds away, and then stretch the neck of your toes, like reach all the toes long so that there's space between every toe. Try to get space between every toe. Good. Good. And then release, bend the knees, bring the feet back down. Take the legs long. Reach the arms overhead and press through one heel and the opposite heel. And then arms to cactus, feet as wide as the edge of your mat, soles of the feet to the floor, and windshield wiper, the knees back and forth. Okay. All right, ready? Last time. So now we'll bring the legs straight up in the air again, pressing the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling. See if you can press your thighs towards the long end of the short end of your mat, the lower short end of your mat. You're like trying to press the thighs away. Engage the legs. Then big toe mound, pinky toe mound, reach towards the ceiling, and then stretch the toes, open the toes. Really get some space between your toes if possible. Keep the back of your neck long. Good. Then release. Legs long on the mat. Arms overhead. Interlace fingers if possible and reach the arms. Press through one heel and the opposite heel. And release your arms. Soles of the feet on the floor as wide as your mat. And windshield wiper back and forth. Here we go. Starting to settle towards a nice long shavasana. So now take the right leg over the left leg and drop knees to the right. If that doesn't work in your body for whatever reason, just slide the top leg off and tuck it underneath the bottom. And stack the knees kind of at about 45 degrees with the knees. I'm not 90, so they're not straight out from my hips. Just a soft twist. And so you either have the legs in the Gomakasana legs, and that puts it's a little bit bigger twist, a little bit more in your low back, or you have your knees stacked over to the right, 45 degrees relative to your body. And come back to center. Take the soles of your feet to the floor and just neutralize your low back and your pelvis with a few pelvic tilts. The asymmetrical work is great. And then we always like to get back to as much symmetry as possible, neutralizing that. So now it's left leg over right, squeezing the thighs and going to the left. If that's too big a twist at this point, just slide the left leg under. So twisting was not our emphasis today, so we haven't done a bunch of it, so it might be a little bit too big. In my body, it feels a little too big, but yeah. And then on your next inhale, sweep the feet back up, soles of the feet to the floor, and a couple of pelvic tilts. And now bring your arms alongside your body, fingertips up towards the ceiling. We'll just do a couple of sort of rolling bridges. So you could stay here, you could release, you could use the arms to come back over your head. I'm just going to press up in this position with my hips and then roll down one vertebra at a time. And this is really, should be a really pretty supportive and nice undulation of the spine. So supportive. If it doesn't feel good for any reason, then I would just say skip it and go right to your Shavasana. But for me, this feels like a nice way to end. I'm rolling down one vertebra at a time. And even when I get to the very end, when I drop my hips, I'm feeling like I'm reaching tailbone in one direction and I'm reaching the back of my head almost scoots along the mat. So I keep the back of my neck long. You could also add the arms. And here you might just leave the arms behind and roll down. You're getting a lot of nice length through back body and sideways. And then start from the starting position again. Just starting to unwind the energy coming towards our Shavasana. So as you're ready, finding Shavasana here on the back body. You could rest knees together. You can take, if you've got furniture nearby and you want to go place your feet up on a piece of furniture for legs up furniture, you can, or you could take the legs long and let the arms fall out to the sides, tuck shoulder blades underneath body. If you need a little bit more movement, you could keep your heels steady and just move the feet back and forth, kind of like this little rocking finish. Lots of options to just drop here. But do find now some stillness. Stillness, and let gravity be your friend. So dropping, dropping, dropping. Like a stone sinking to the bottom of a pool of water, rippling out, settling. Bones are heavy. Releasing any tension in the legs, in the arms, soften your hands, soften everything. Release any tension between your brow. Allowing more space between your brow. Release any tension around the outside of your eyes. Around your mouth. Release your jaw. And really just allow your whole body to take up as much space as possible in this Shavasana shape. Soften the inner ear. What is whispering to you now? Oh, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.